At the stroke of midnight, millions of women in Florida joined millions more women across the country who just might die because they won't have access to proper reproductive health care. After months of delay, Florida's 6-week ban, which is essentially a total ban, went into effect. It's a stunning reality for the roughly 4 million women in the state. Until today, Florida was a safe haven for people from other southern red states, but no more.
I get very choked up talking about it and thinking about it because I'm in clinic this morning upstairs and was just running down because we are having patients who are 6 weeks, 4 days pregnant, 6 weeks, 3 days pregnant, and we are telling them we can't help them.
I wish that they understood that there's more to having a baby than just birthing it. How are they going to be taken care of? Will their lives not be like traumatized by if they didn't have a present mom or dad?
The next closest available healthcare haven for Floridians is New Mexico or Virginia. That means that if you are in dire need of stabilizing care, you would have to travel almost a full day to get treatment, knowing full well that you could die. While Florida was clamping down on women, 2 Arizona state Republicans voted with Democrats to repeal their 1864 total ban on abortion. While it is nominally repealed, there likely will be a period when nearly all abortions would still be outlawed because the repeal won't take effect until 90 days after the end of the current legislative session, likely in June or July. Joining me now is former Florida Congresswoman Debbie Mucarsel-Powell, who is currently a candidate for the United States Senate. Thank you very much for being here, Senator Mucarsel-Powell. Let's talk about this. In 2023, something like 7,700 out of 84,000 abortions performed in Florida were out of state because Florida was the refuge in the Southeast. It is no more. What are the implications of that?
Yeah, we woke up to such devastating news that the reality...
I'm sorry, I called you Senator already. Didn't mean to manifest that.
You can call me Senator, Joanne. Look, it's a really, really difficult day for us here. You know, we talk about it. We've been preparing for this. But when I woke up as a woman living in the state of Florida, as a mother of 2 daughters living here in the state of Florida, understanding that now my daughters are faced with living in a state without any access to this healthcare that's so central to the dignity of women, that should be a private matter between herself, her doctor, her family, her faith, without government interference. And I'm extremely concerned that we're going to start seeing a spike not only in higher maternal mortality rates, but also in violence against women. This law has hardly any exceptions to incest and to rape. It puts the burden of having to prove that you've been raped on the woman, having to go to the courts to get that permission to have access to this critical care. I've talked to providers that are extremely concerned because many women living in the state of Florida still do not understand that this ban goes into effect today. But we are going to have an opportunity to be able to vote in November to make sure that we protect reproductive rights for women with this ballot amendment. But it's not going to mean anything if we re-elect Rick Scott. He goes back to the Senate and pushes for a national abortion ban because that's exactly their strategy. This is their agenda, and they're not going to stop right here in Florida.
Previous attempts to protect women's rights and voting rights, et cetera, were stymied by Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, 2 nominal Democrats. Sinema then became an independent who stood in the way of ending the filibuster. You've come out and said you're in favor of pausing the filibuster. What would that mean, and how would that change things?
I think that we need to have a true representative democracy in the Senate, and that requires a 50+1 vote. That's how democracy works, particularly in protecting fundamental civil rights, particularly protecting voting rights, protecting democracy. I've said this before. As we see attacks against our democracy, as we see them attacking and eroding at every democratic institution, they're strategically attacking women's rights. And it's central to democracy because women's rights and democracy go hand in hand. When we organize, when we mobilize, when we create a movement, we win, but we also strengthen democracy here in this country. And so this is a strategy. It's a well-coordinated effort. And I truly believe that if I'm in the Senate, we need to put a pause in the filibuster to pass the Voting Rights Act. We're in this mess right now with all the issues that we're facing in this country because that didn't happen when we had the majority. And we also have to codify Roe v. Wade. I've been very vocal about that. Look, we know that this is going to have much higher repercussions, not just for the state of Florida, but for our healthcare system across the country. What is happening in Florida could be happening in the country if we re-elect Rick Scott here in the state, and if the former president has his way and goes back into the White House.
Donald Trump gave this interview at a time in which he would not tell a reporter whether he would vote for this referendum, which needs 60% of people to vote for it to pass. He said that he thinks states might monitor women's presidencies. He has no problem with that. Refuses to say whether he'd sign a national abortion ban. And he wouldn't give an answer whether he would support a Life at Conception Act, which would ban abortion nationwide, or what he would do about any of the other abortion-related measures that might come his way. Are you concerned that if Donald Trump is president and Rick Scott is the senator, that we will have a national version of what Florida has now?
I don't want anyone to have any doubt that that will absolutely happen. When I was in Congress, the most extreme Republicans in the caucus were making lines signing into the Life at Conception bill. Rick Scott has given tens of thousands of dollars to people that are on that bill. His name is on a national abortion ban. Even today, Rick Scott said that he would sign any anti-abortion bill that would come to his desk. He said it again today. He has been digging in this issue. And so I need everyone watching to go to my website to support this race, debbieforflorida.com. Everything is at stake. Freedom is on the ballot here in November, our democracy, our rights, and we're fighting in Florida. Florida is in play. We just need everyone to pay attention and to support.
Former Congresswoman Debbie Mucarsel-Powell, thank you very much. We'll be right back.